Where's our Dan? That's all I ever get.
Yeah. You're allowed to interrupt Stan.
Yeah. I'll just read this little bit out first, and then I'll tell you about VOW for people that don't know what Voice of Wales is. The Tory whip over the Sadiq Khan comment. What he said was that the London Mayor had given our capital away. And that obviously comes off the back of not only last week and the debacle in the House of Commons, but also when I was down in London at the Cenotaph, marching on Whitehall, my parade was disrupted by the Palestine Liberation Organisation, Hamas. They disrupted me. Sadiq Khan stopped buses. He stopped the underground for veterans getting to the Cenotaph. That's the kind of man he is. He is sadistic. He is anti-British. And when he says Londoners, he means Muslims. That's what he means. Nothing else. Just his clan. So unfortunately, the Conservative Party have lost a great asset. Lee Anderson is a bluff, Yorkshireman, and I think he's from Yorkshire anyway. But in any event, they've lost somebody who's an honest speaker. And how many honest speakers have we not got in Parliament or the House of Lords? None of them. None of them. They're all duplicitors. They all lie, and they're all looking after themselves or their families. And we saw that through Brexit. We saw that through COVID. We saw that through right up to now. So that's my take on Lee Anderson, and it's a shame that that's happened with him. The Voice of Wales was formed because of the media in Wales being totally run and funded by the Welsh Government, whether that's the BBC, whether that's the Radio Wales, or Nation Cymru, or whether it's Wales Online. Every one of them toe the line. They won't, Drakeford and Vaughan Gethin and Miles, they won't have an interview with Voice of Wales because they know that they're not going to have the laundered questions that's going to be thrown at them. That's why there's a video going about, if you look up Voice of Wales, and Drakeford's running away. We've got him at a Diwali party when everyone else was on lockdown. We've got him running into his car and asking him questions. He blew his top. He almost certainly assaulted me in these days and age because he had his finger right in my face and saying that I wasn't a proper journalist. But there we go. It's because I was asking questions.
You're the only real journalist.
Yeah, Voice of Wales came out of Brexit. And me and Dan, we didn't know each other until Brexit. And what happened was, I was actually running Vote Leave, and he was running the organisation Swansea, Leavers of Swansea. And I contacted him and said, look, can we do some work on the junctions with placards and stuff like that? And that's how we met. And then the next time we met was when Anne-Marie Waters came down to Swansea, and she came down, and they tried to move us. They tried to destroy the organisation. They were tweeting online that they got rid of Anne-Marie at the same time that Anne-Marie was reading out the message in front of hundreds of people there.
This is from Stand Up to Racism Swansea. Racists and fascists hide in the shadows. A planned meeting of the DFLA and Anne-Marie Waters never saw the light of day. Earlier in the week, the event showed... I don't get it. Am I at this event reading out that this event isn't happening? Is that what I'm doing? It didn't Earlier in the week, the event showed 5 going and 15 interesting. A post from the DFLA remonstrated with supporters of its Facebook group begging people to attend. Today their Facebook page was culled to 15. Around 40 anti-racists met in Swansea Castle Square ready to protest, but the Nazi cowards did not show themselves. Please make sure, have you got this on film? Can you just clip this bit? Yeah. And I will send it to them on Twitter. Thank you.
So this is the kind of lies and distortions that we get, but on a daily basis in Wales. The press turned stuff around that I was told that if I was in front of a councillor, they'd punch me in the face. But the Wales Online turned it and said that we were racist and one thing and another. And so at that point we thought, right, let's form our own media company. And so we did, and it's the Voice of Wales. And so but we also did something else, which was organise people. And so when Jeremy Corbyn, and I've got to tell you now that Wales, the full title for Wales is the People's Socialist Republic of Wales, and it's run by a dictator, Drakeford, and whoever comes after him, Kim Jong-un, would actually be more preferable. Now, the point is that Jeremy Corbyn came down and the great unwashed gathered at the Patty Pavilion, and they were singing "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn" and all that kind of, and we turned up en masse, and he wasn't allowed to do a speech from the balcony because they thought that we might do something. And all we did was, it was our presence. And so he cancelled this oration to the masses of the great unwashed, and he had to do it out inside. And the journalists were saying, oh, do you think it's bad sportsmanship for the right to turn up? And you think, hello, you're the lot that glue yourselves to everything. You destroy everything, you rip everything up, and when we turn the tables on you, you object. Well, no. And so that was that. And then the Welsh government then decided, and you've heard the phrase, the George Orwell phrase of changing street names and changing history and changing dates and changing times. Well, they decided to do a review, and it cost about £1 million. And they identified 68 sites within Wales that either needed a name change or statues to be removed. And so what they did was they got rid of Major General Picton. He was wounded 2 days before Waterloo, and he was wounded in the thigh, and he nevertheless wanted to be at Waterloo. And so he strapped himself up, he got on his horse. Wellington was unaware that he was already wounded, badly wounded, and he took a bullet in the temple. And if you see if you see Waterloo, General Picton is actually in a top hat and gentleman's clothes, because they rushed from that battle to Waterloo, and his uniform was left behind. So he turned up in top hat and tails, literally top hat and tails. The lines were faltering, and he rallied his men and he charged the highest ranking man on the battlefield, other than Lord Wellington himself. He was killed, and he's in a place in Cardiff City, the Guildhall in Cardiff, in something called the Hall of Heroes, until 24 months ago, when they put a box around him and they said that he was a slave trader. Something that, he did 34 years service in the British Army. He was wounded once heavily in battle, and then he fought and died for his own country. And that's the kind of evil and wicked mentality that these communists have. Now, they also wanted to change Picton Terrace and the Picton pub, and they were going in and threatening landlords to change names. They wanted to get rid of a little village called Nelson, which is near Caerphilly, because Lord Nelson was also intimated that he didn't care about slaves in a private letter, which people say that they dispute that letter. But this is the kind of tyranny that the Welsh people are in on a daily basis, and when they're teaching this kind of crap to children, and it's a drip feed, it's a long time. They've now been in power 25 years. Labour Party have been in power 25 years. You have a look at the Welsh economy, it's flatlined. He's trying to put taxes and tolls, toll bridges, taxes on tourism to go into Wales. You've now got 20 miles an hour, blanket 20 miles an hour, what used to be 30. The man is an absolute tyrant. 93% of the Welsh public did not want the 20 mile per hour in Wales. He just ignored them. There was a quarter, I think it's 500,000 or 250,000 people signed a petition to say that, you know, around hospitals, fine, around schools, fine, but not 2 o'clock in the morning on a country road going through a small village at 20. He ignored it. So this is the kind of stuff that he does in Wales. We're now battling with, you may have heard of Port Talbot and the steelworks there. So the nonsense is, they have the best steel in the world is produced partly in Sheffield, but mainly in Port Talbot. It's virgin steel and it's with coke ovens. It's the highest steel you can make. You cannot reproduce it with electric arc furnaces. Yeah, there you go. So there's going to be around 12,000 jobs in an area that's deprived already. It's the most poorest region, not only in Wales, but most of the country as well. And he's not bothered because it's net zero. But have a think about this. You've got the Defence Secretary that is saying that within the next 10 years, we are going to be at war with Russia. You've got them on a daily basis beating the war drum. And yet, where are we going to get the steel from? China, India. And it's not going to be as good. We're going to have to make tanks from foreign steel, if we can get it. This is the kind of madness. And he says, oh, we've got to do our bit for net zero. Well, how does making steel in Wales or making steel in India make it any less? You've got to put it on a dirty diesel tanker to bring it across, and then you've got to remanufacture it here. And from working in the NHS, we've had copper piping and something called pepper potting with a brand new hospital in Essex, where the whole of the copper has had to be stripped out because of the weakness in the copper piping. It goes thick and thin, thick and thin. And so you'll have a hole there, you mend that hole, and then 2 weeks later you've got one 3 meters down, and then further down, and then back there. It was unreliable, but it had the mark on, the quality mark. So we cannot have inferior imports coming in and then be told that it's all to do with net zero. Because of course, just near Port Talbot, you've got Margam, and you've got the best anthracite coal in the world in the ground. And that's what's needed. You don't even have to have a train. You can have it on a belt going into Port Talbot itself. Just think of the savings for that, but also the skilled labour that you need to extract that coal and give it to Port Talbot. But that, of course, isn't in the plan. And so 12,000 jobs are going to go. There's 3,000 in the steelworks, and then 12,000, another 9,000 on subsidiary jobs in and around Port Talbot. Not only that, this week or last week, you've then got the farmers. He wants to take away 25% of their land, 10% for regreening, 10% for forestry, and 5% for hedges or ponds. But when you've got a subsistence farm and you're making ends meet as it is, how are you expected to live? He doesn't care. And the reason why he doesn't care, he said it himself, you lot voted Brexit. So it's nothing to do with the environment, it's to do with retribution. And that's what we've got in Wales. And it's on a daily basis. Last week we had drag queens in the museum. They were going in reading to children. So again, everybody booked tickets online. There was nobody there.
Disgusting.
But that's what it is. It is disgusting. And the police, what did the police do? Safeguarding. Yeah. So, and they say that we have a diverse community. Well, if we have a diverse community, then let's get a Sunday school teacher teaching Bible lessons for an hour. Bible stories. There's loads of them, and they're all lovely. And actually, there was only half an hour when I was at Sunday school, you know. But oh no, that doesn't fit with the plan, because Mr. Drakeford only a month ago opened a mosque in Swansea and said that this is our future. He also gave the mosque our money as grants. And yet I understand that another church, a church that's now closed, asked for money and he was refused. They were refused. So this battle that we're fighting is every hour, every minute, every day, every week, and it's on and on and on. And if we don't stand up and be counted, then we're finished. But I know one thing, and I'll end with this, and it's a quote which I quite like. And it's a quote from Churchill. Never give in.
Yeah.
Never give in. Never, never, never in nothing. Great or small, large or petty. Never give in except to convictions of honour and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy. And I know that Anne-Marie Walters will never give in.